The Supreme Court packed up for summer vacation, but not before taking immigrant rights, gun safety, and half the Constitution with them. Trump is throwing tantrums in the Senate, and he's holding a bipartisan housing bill hostage until Congress gives him his SAVE Act blankie. Meanwhile, Mamdani backed candidates swept Tuesday's primaries. Establishment Dems are clutching their pearls. The reflecting pool is still green, and tens of tens gathered for Trump's Freedom 250 snooze fest. America is stressed. The billionaires are doing just fine. And apparently, this is what's making America great again. We've got a lot to gripe about. This is the Daily Gripe. How you doing today? What's going on?
Good. How you doing, Denise?
Hanging in there.
Aren't we all? Aren't we all?
Tell me about it.
What new fuckery did we wake up to today?
Supreme Court fuckery, apparently. We've been dealing with that over the last few days. So the Supreme Court dropped a number of decisions and then, quickly packed up. But two of them dealing with immigration. And I mean, look, let's face it. Basically, Trump can violate laws that Congress has made, immigration law, and just do what he wants. And the result has been horrific. Megyn Kelly made just a disgusting statement about Haitians, basically telling them to go home. And you know what? I'll just read it for you. I'm not going to play it because it's just too despicable. She said, "Go home, get out. We know our country is better than yours. That's because we filled it with our work ethic and our culture and our values. You being here only dilutes it for us, those who built it and live it. And half of you people, more than half of you won't assimilate. We don't want you. We don't care if you're offended. Get out, go home, go back to fucking Haiti." What do you think of that?
Offended. I'm personally offended. All right. And I was born here. I grew up here. And Megyn Kelly can go fuck herself.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah,
There.
she's in a lovely see you
There.
next Tuesday.
It's this. First of all, there's this like rash of white nationalism, okay, that thinks that they're better than everybody else. You're fucking not. You're just fucking not.
No,
Okay.
they're-
All right. And I'm really just fucking sick and tired of the nonsense. I really just am at this point in time. I mean, I think a lot of people are.
Yeah. And let's just break this down a little. In that statement, she isn't just attacking Haitians there. All right. She uses references to our culture and references to assimilating and that these people are diluting it. Those are white supremacy codes. That's code for white replacement. That's what she's talking about.
Again, I go to what is American culture? Like, what is the American dream? The American dream was a phrase that was coined at the turn of the century, and it basically meant that the dream of America was individual to each person. We could define our own dreams. The dream wasn't defined by somebody else. Today, the dream is you have to accumulate wealth. Billionaires are the only ones able to live the American dream, and they say, go fuck everybody else. Fuck the billionaires, fuck Megyn Kelly, fuck all these people. And excuse me for saying it that way, but, this is the Daily Gripe, and I'm griping, okay? Like, the fact is that the American dream is individual. If first of all, we want to talk about Haiti. Look what we did to Haiti. This is the United States, okay? What United States did to Haiti, okay? We are the ones that caused all the turmoil in that country. The United States, not we as in me, but the United States caused all the turmoil in that country, forced people to flee to the United States, right? And then we're going to turn our back on them after everything we did? After everything the United States did? The hubris.
Go into that a little bit more.
It's just the hubris of the white nationalists in the United States to think that we didn't play a role in the fact that despots took power in these Latin and South American countries and even some of the Caribbean countries. Like the United States funded these fucking people on behalf of the corporations that were sitting there going, well, this is what we want. This wasn't done for us. Bukele isn't the dictator of El Salvador because of the fact that like he was a great guy. No, he was funded by the United States. We've been playing this game like this is the game with Iran. Like it's this game that we keep funding these people. We don't fund democracy, we fund despots.
Right.
Okay? The United States funds despots. I'm sorry, whatever you want to think about America, that's what America is. And I'm sorry that like completely destroys any idea that you had of what America actually is. I really get sick and tired of people denying the reality and the truth. Like, there have been books about this. There have been facts that have come out about this. There are CIA documents that have come out about this. There are FBI documents that have come out about this. Stop lying to yourselves. Just stop.
Well, I think, more and more of this information is coming out and people are starting to pay attention. It's that our government has done a lot of shit behind the scenes to destabilize these other countries in an effort to allow corporations to exploit their resources, most particularly oil above all others. And what it ends up doing is destabilizing the country to a point where they end up with refugees and they come to our borders, particularly in South America. We have fucked with South America quite a bit, more
Hold
than I
on a
think
second.
people know.
Like, I'm really sick and tired of like this whole like deep state argument and this like there's nothing we can do, it's government. I'm sorry, the two people who are in government right now have proof beyond a shadow of a doubt, okay, that government is in fact not what we've been told over the last 50 years.
Yeah.
Okay? Donald Trump and Zoran Mamdani have showed us that if politicians want to get something done, they can get something done. Okay? So this idea that we aren't responsible, we are absolutely 100% responsible because we voted for these people. We voted for the Chuck Schumers. We voted for the Hakeem Jeffries. We voted for the Kirsten Gillibrands. We voted for these fucking people who we sent to Congress in order to protect us and hold government accountable. And what have they done? They sold out.
Well, that's it. That's it.
Okay.
We voted them under certain pretenses, under certain promises that they were going to deliver certain stuff for us, and then we got fucked by them.
That is also a lie right there. Right. Because what we were told was we have to vote for these people because nobody else is electable. That's what we were told.
Well, we're
These people
proving that wrong.
These people could raise money. I was told for years progressives can't win, right? And then like they pointed to McGovern. Like even like just a few years ago, I had conversations, I had arguments with people who were pointing to McGovern, which was like 60 years ago. Okay? We are not living in the past anymore. We aren't living in the 1970s. People have to grow the fuck up and understand that we are living in 2026 right now. Okay? And the world is much different than it was in 1970. Okay?
Definitely.
And I'm sorry, when what I love is I love Democrats who are like, we're going to defend fascism to our dying breath. Okay? Because that's what they're doing. They're defending fascism, right? While talking about how we have to do everything we possibly can to defend ourselves against the socialist left. Can we just look at the policies? Like
It's
defending
the center.
the defend elections, universal health care, child care, things that used to actually be in America, things that we all like really wanted, we all advocated for. This was actually the center. And it wasn't the center that long ago because that's what Obama ran on, right? Like you look at what Obama ran on, He ran on hope. That was the hope. The hope was is to actually provide benefits to Americans and to relieve some of the stress that Americans have related to money. And he failed on that promise. And all we've had are failures since. And the first guy to come along, Mamdani, who says, I'm going to actually do it and it can be done. And now he's showing it can be done, shows that every single politician out there, Pat Ryan, Chuck Schumer, Kirsten Gillibrand, Tom Suozzi, Lauren Guillen. Yes, and I'm naming a lot of Democrats here, right? Because we know it's all Democrats. I'm tired of it. Now we know it can be done. So the
Yeah,
question is what are you doing?
yeah, it's interesting that you named that group of people. I think all of them signed on to some memorandum claiming that they're going to stand against socialism, and this is, we're just doing Red Scare shit all over again, right? Trump
Yeah,
put out a
yeah.
statement that the communists are here. What Mamdani is doing, he is not a communist. This is just
He's
like
a,
Neil said. This is like
he's a center.
this is the
He's a
center. This
center.
is Democratic stuff. You what
Right.
I mean, now, just pay attention because there was an audio podcast recording of Speaker of the House Johnson, who was recorded as saying, "We got to do something about the national debt, and so we got to worry about all these autopilot entitlement programs, and we're gonna after the midterms, we're gonna work on cutting those." Making cuts. We're talking Social Security, Medicare, and obviously Medicaid is already being cut, and they're going to cut that January 1st. It goes, that's when you start really feeling it. We haven't experienced the stuff yet. But yeah, the promise was, I'm not going to touch a penny of your Social Security. And Mike Johnson is like, guess what? Yes, we are.
But this goes to Democrats are lining up to join the Republicans. Okay? We have to understand as a people that we have to start looking for candidates outside these groups, outside the Democratic and Republican Party. And the public is already there and has been there for a long time. And I've stated this many times. Look at your local community. In your local community, there are more registered unaffiliated voters, meaning that they refuse to pick a party, than there are Republicans and Democrats. And the reason for that is they don't believe either party is representative of who they are. And what we saw in the past election, not only this past primary, but in Mamdani's election last year, we saw those unaffiliated voters come out and vote in a general election in a way that we have never seen before. So we know that are actually more progressive and are sitting there and are actually holding the center, like Bernie Sanders. I know everybody calls Bernie Sanders the leftist. Bernie Sanders is really the anchor in the center. I've said it for a long time. AOC's policies from the very beginning, if you actually listened to her and actually looked at her policies aren't much different than those either in the New Deal or that were enacted after the New Deal. Like Levittown. I keep talking about Levittown, right? That's a policy. Like the policy of being able to provide low income loans to families, and the government can do that as opposed to subsidizing rental units. The idea of we can incentivize purchasing. But even more so, what really got me is that now what you're seeing is a shift. The government is no longer telling you that the American dream is ownership, the owning of a house. If you noticed, you are starting your social media feeds are starting to become more populated with the idea of getting you more comfortable with renting.
Right. Right.
Okay. So now there's actually pamphlets out there saying, hey, listen, you rent, this is what your monthly cost is. If you buy, this is what your monthly cost is. Look, if you buy, you're actually spending a lot more money because you have maintenance costs on your home. but you don't have maintenance costs if you rent because you have a landlord and they take care of all your landscaping. You have to do that yourself, and look how much it costs. So now they're doing these costs, and they're leaving out the fact that you're building equity when you own a home.
Right. Right.
They're
How many of
leaving
us
out
borrowed against that equity?
they're leaving out that equity piece because they want you to be comfortable with renting. They want you to think that renting is more preferable than buying now. Okay? This is the new mentality.
The
The I
neo-feudalism.
subscription society. We are becoming a subscription society, and if you don't believe it, go fuck yourself. I don't care whether you believe it or not. We're here. And I hear the complaints all the time. I complain all the time. Just look at my car. I got auto start in my car, okay? But I can't use it unless I pay a $10 subscription to fucking Mazda. I mean, it's absolutely insane now, okay? The amount of subscriptions that you have. You have subscriptions to use your computer. You have subscriptions to use your printer. You have subscriptions to use your phone.
I do.
Everything is a fucking subscription now. We are becoming a subscription society. We are moving away from being an ownership society. And if you think the Democratic Party actually cares about that, they do not. They haven't brought up ownership once.
Right. That's true.
They don't talk about ownership anymore. Okay? So this is what I mean. You have to go out and find yourself a progressive candidate who's going to actually talk about these issues. And you want a progressive candidate that isn't a John Fetterman. You want one with integrity. Right? You need one with integrity. And those are really hard to find. Okay? But you got to dig deep, and then you got to defend that fucking person to the bitter fucking end.
Yeah. There is a website called Track AIPAC. I'll put that on the screen and put a link below. And it allows you can go and search for certain candidates, and it will tell you whether or not they're taking PAC money. Even if it's not directly from AIPAC, if it's from an aligned PAC, it gives you a look at candidates, like Caitlin Conley, and what their support, whether or not they support, giving money or not giving money to Israel to fund their wars. So it pointed that Conley does support continuing to fund Israel and
I
supports.
said she was APAC
Yep,
at the
yep, yeah. They didn't give her a
in
lot
our
of
last show.
money. What I saw, it was dated back in April that she'd only received like $250. But then again, that was
No,
back in
it's the
April.
ads. It's the ads.
Right? It's
It's
the
the ad
ads.
buys. It's the ad buys. So they don't give money directly. These groups don't give money directly. What they do is they do ad buys. And right now, so that race was looking to be one of the most competitive races around, right? Like we're talking about that race,
That
like
was
the Mike
Lawler's
Lawler
seat.
race. Yeah, that's Lawler's seat. And Lawler wants to fight tooth and nail for that seat. And this is honestly one of the worst case scenarios for Lawler, because now APAC, who was looking at, hundreds of millions of dollars in ad buys against,
Uh,
either
Effie
Effie,
or yeah.
right, or Beth. Okay, now they don't have to worry about it because it doesn't matter who wins that seat. You're gonna, the only difference is whether you're gonna get, a Democrat or a Republican, a corporate Democrat or a Trump Republican.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Like does it really matter now?
Yeah, I was really bummed about that. And she got like about half of the vote, and the rest of the other primary candidates were splitted. I think the person who came in second might have been Beth. And
Right.
then
That did.
Effie. And Effie was the
Yeah.
top on the progressive side. So
Yeah.
yeah, I was really, really bummed on that. But we did get what, 3 candidates, progressive candidates that,
Yeah, listen, they're not all going to be progressives, but I listen. First of all, you need a Democratic caucus, and I think that this is a start. But this is what I keep telling everybody, right? Winning the election is not the goal. The goal has to be the policies that we're all advocating for, which means that whatever this movement is that we're seeing has to go beyond election day, because what's going to happen is there aren't enough progressives running to let's just say move the needle. Okay, like, we're all looking for the needle to be moved. There's not a universal health care needle. Okay, that if you elect Democrats, all of a sudden tomorrow we're going to have health care reform, or that we're going to stop funding Israel, or that we're not, like, the you know what we have to think about is the next step. What do we do after Democrats take control? Because if you don't hold the Democrats' feet to the fire, what they're going to do is give excuse after excuse, while, all of a sudden some of those Democrats who ran, oh, well, we need them to be, they're in a safe state, and we want them to hold their seat in 2 years from now. So they have to vote with the Republican. I mean, we've heard this a million fucking times. We have two in our state, Swazi and Guian,
Yes.
who
Yes.
constantly vote with the Republicans. Like, what fucking good are you then? Like, you're not a Democrat, like, you're not a Democrat. You're only voting that way because there's a lot of money out on Long Island and you want the money.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's true. And so, you know, change takes time, but this is how you start getting there. I was surprised that these 13 Democrats and several of them that you mentioned signed off on this we stand against socialism, and it's like, what the hell are you talking about?
Why would
Right?
you be surprised? Why were you surprised? I'm kind of
No, I'm
curious
not
about that.
it's just funny. It's always the same fucking people.
It's always the same fucking people, and there's a reason for that, because they are controlled. This the I apologize to the conspiracy theorist Republicans.
Tell me
Okay.
about it. Yeah.
There apparently is a deep state conspiracy of billionaires that fucking run our government.
Yep. Yep.
I I don't, like, I can't even.
Pedophile rapists that, run
I
government,
can't,
wanna control the
right.
world. Let me
You
tell
know,
you.
it's just really funny that it turned out to be true, and we're sitting here going, "Well, oh shit, now what?" You know? So now we have to run people. Now it's like, in order to hold people accountable, and they have to be people of integrity, because here's what I'm gonna tell you. Even a lot of the progressives that we're supporting may not be there for us in the end.
Well, yes, and perfect examples are Mikey Sherrill and Abigail Spanberger, who have, disappointed their constituents very quickly. We have what happened at Delaney Hall with the First Amendment areas, like, what the fuck was that? First Amendment is everywhere. Everywhere. It's First Amendment. Get that right. And then, of course, Abigail vetoing a, collective bargaining was it agreement or a bill for collective bargaining for, I believe, state employees to be able to collectively bargain for better wages and better benefits, and she vetoed that. Like, what the fuck was that?
What I keep saying is, once you win, right? Like, so it was funny. Who was it that talked about this? I think it was, may have either been, I think it was AOC may have talked about this. Or one of the other progressives said, when you get to Congress, you get invited to all these parties, and you have to say no to the parties. You just
'Cause
have to
that's
say
where they
no.
come in and they
That
try to
right, because they get you at the party, and either, one of two things either happens. Either they figure out that they can buy you and buy your votes, that there is a price, or they get you in some type of compromising position, and then they blackmail you. I mean, like, it's not fucking hard to see. Like, we've heard this, that 90% of all the Republicans are being blackmailed by right now by Trump. You have access. You think about it. You're the president of the United States. You have access to everybody's FBI file, everybody's CIA file. And, these congressmen aren't, like, they're not squeaky clean. Everybody who got there, by some means or another of cheating, lying, or stealing. You know, I mean, there are a few guys who haven't. And those are the guys that you actually see them going hardest to get. Like, Thomas Massey's a piece of garbage, but you can tell the guy's like a good guy because nobody like they had nothing on the guy. They had nothing on the guy. Like you want to talk about a guy they had nothing on. They threw everything in the kitchen sink at that fucking guy and they had nothing at the end of the day. Okay? But you look at some of these people like Ro Khanna, J. Paul, I mean, they have they have all these resources to get all this blackmail, and you could tell the people that they go hardest against who don't have that, you could actually tell. And then they don't get elected, and then those people don't get elected.
Yeah.
That's what drives me crazy is the fact that they have nothing on these people, and yet the people still vote for the garbage, right? They still vote for the person who gets the most ads, you know, the most fake ads, the most fake shit where they're like, "Oh my god, I'm so glad this person existed and they helped me out so much." Right? Meanwhile, it's like some actor from fucking Hollywood, right? And the people railing against Hollywood the most are the people falling for the Hollywood actor telling them to
Yeah.
vote for that fucking guy.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's
Was it
that
Spencer
has to be
Pratt? He
right.
didn't get elected, but boy, did he put up a freaking argument? Oh, I should have won. It's been a cheat, dude. Like only 15% of the people in LA are friggin' Republicans. No, you didn't have a chance.
But LA, they love actors, so that's okay. I'm talking about like deep state. Like I'm talking about like Kentucky where Thomas Massey lost. Like, I mean, that his opponent like hid from the public. He wasn't even like he never went out in public. He did no public, he wouldn't debate, he didn't have any public meetings, like he didn't do anything. Meanwhile, they put actors on TV and Kentucky fell for it. Like, I mean, this is what I mean. It just they put actors in front of you. Meanwhile, the people who you are railing against the most are the actors. Meanwhile, you're buying the shit that they're selling.
Yeah, we could talk a little bit about that election, because it was very, very strange, and it's popped up in other, primaries, and it's something to be considered because literally, I think they said twice as many people voted in that primary that Massey lost as voted in the 2024 election for Trump.
Yeah, there's clearly something wrong. I'm gonna tell you there's clearly something wrong there, man.
Like,
Like,
this could be a test
no, no.
of what's
Listen,
happening in the 20 in the in what
no,
do you think?
there's definitely fraud. There's definitely fraud. Like, I'm gonna tell you that I have never in my lifetime, okay, it never seen a primary. You got to remember, a primary would just so a primary is only one party, okay, have more people vote in it, okay, than vote in a general election, right? Especially a general election where it was a presidential election. It never happened. It never fucking happened. I'm telling you that right now. I, show me. You know, Kanaki, whatever the fuck those guys are that do that analysis, somebody do that analysis and show me how many times in the history of the United States, right, where more people came out in a primary election, okay, than came out for a presidential general election. Democrats are, you got to remember, presidential general election was Democrats, Republicans, and
Independence.
independents, right? The other, right? So everybody votes in a general election, and you're telling me more Republicans came out in a primary election than came out voting in a general election.
And it's not the first time in these primaries. It's happened, I think it happened also in Texas also.
No,
Um,
that never happened. That has never happened anywhere. I'm telling you that right now. I think more people that have come out in primaries than have ever come out in those primaries before. But no, it
Not to that amount.
if you have more people vote in a primary election than voted in a presidential general election, right? Show me those numbers. Show me where that's ever happened before,
Yeah,
because
I'm
I
gonna
can't I
get
can't see that I can't see that ever
no,
happening.
I'm gonna get a little flag that's red and just wave it. Red flag, So, yeah, there is actually a website called Election Truth Alliance. I recommend everybody follow it. He does some great work, and I believe he is looking into this. Is that his name, Kornacki, the guy who does it? I forgot
I don't know.
what
S
his name is, but,
Steve Kornacki is is a guy on MSNBC who
MS
does,
okay,
like
wrong person,
yeah,
but
he does he usually does all that election, guru stuff, like, where he, like, looks at all the numbers and stuff like that, and I'm like, "No way. Just no
so
fucking way. Just no
so
way."
getting back to where we began here, into all of this, um, with what the Supreme Court has done is, basically invalidated Congress. So it's like,
Yes.
what are you electing? What are you voting for anyway? And said that the president of the United States can violate existing laws and do what he wants and remove an entire sect of people under, I guess, does it have to be like an emergency, like a national emergency, or is it just upon his whim? Like, does he have to have a specific reason?
They listen, they are violating, like, so many laws, right? So, like, part of it is the law that they're using really to deport everybody is the law that basically says that if you come to this country illegally, undocumented, that they can remove you within 24 hours of coming to this country. Okay? Hold on.
Okay, you're getting there.
Okay? I'm getting there. Okay? What they are doing is they are stripping everybody who is here illegally. They may not be documented in the way that you want them to be documented or they should be documented, but they may be going through court hearings. They may be seeking asylum and have an application in. So that application is being reviewed. All that, by the way, is within the law. There is a law from 1980 and there's a law from 1990. These are the laws that are actually in front that the Supreme Court just, like, basically said that Trump could ignore, right? Those type of laws. And basically what they're saying is well, if they strip you of all that documentation, right? Like, they strip you of your court status, they strip you of your legal status. What they're doing is they're basically treating people like even DACA kids, right? Like, they're treating people who've been in this country for maybe decades, okay, as if they just got here,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they're removing them, and that to again, you're really violating the law, and it's not just the law, you're violating the spirit of the law. And if there are actual Democrats, in Congress, they should be, suing and holding hearings on this shit. But we don't really, this whole idea of, well, we're not in charge. Okay, I get that you're not in charge. Is every fucking Republican a pussy?
yeah.
Right? Like, is every Republican a bullsack? Like, I mean, these people have absolutely no guts, and then they run on the rule of law, but they're violating the rule of law, right?
Constantly.
So they don't really care about laws. They're only telling you that they care about laws because then they're telling you what to be afraid of and that they're going to be the ones to protect you from it. And really what they're doing is they're creating a fascist country, right? And putting you in harm's way in the process. Because
Yes,
it makes all of us on their rules and what they're doing is making all of us unsafe. When you fail to follow the law, you make everybody unsafe. Let me say that again. When you fail to follow the law, everybody is unsafe. Okay?
exactly.
And that is exactly what this administration is doing. They are failing to follow the law, which is making all of us unsafe. Okay? And I'm sorry, that becomes a problem for me because now you're saying me and my family are unsafe.
Right.
Okay, as a result of your actions. So stop with your nonsense. Stop saying you're doing it for my safety because you're making me unsafe. Okay, and unsafe isn't just being unsafe physically, it's the feeling of being unsafe, which is what they're creating. They're creating a hysteria of being unsafe when crime is at an all-time low in this country.
Yeah.
Okay?
But they keep
So
telling you it's on the up. Yeah,
no,
from
it's at an
them.
all-time low in this country. Yeah, it's on the up and up because of economics. The economics in this country are getting terrible. So people are now having right to go out and steal fucking diapers
Yes.
and
Yeah.
baby stuff. So let's stop this nonsense and stop the propaganda machine that's going on and start actually having some real conversations about policies. Show me your policies. Stop talking about like these stupid like affordability and housing and gas,
Talk about what you're
right?
gonna do about it.
Talking about what you're going to do about. I want to know your fucking policy from now on. From now on, a politician comes at me and says they want my money. I want to know your policies. You're not willing to tell me your policies. Go fuck yourself. You know,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hakeem Jeffries sent me an email
Or an
for trying to
email,
fundraise
text.
for me,
Yeah.
right? Trying to fundraise for me. My response was, Hakeem Jeffries can go fuck himself. All right. And then I said in the same email, I said, in case that wasn't understand, you didn't understand that. Let me type it slower and in bold faced capital letters. Hakeem Jeffries, go fuck yourself.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Big APAC recipient right there. Go look him up on Track APAC. Be surprised.
Oh, listen, him and Mike Johnson, MAGA Mike Johnson, all right, won the APAC of the Year award. Okay, they won an award together, all right, and they stood together. They're like, "Yeah, me and Mike Johnson are besties," right? So, I'm really tired of hearing this idea that he's the leader of the Democratic. No, him and Mike Johnson are leaders of AIPAC. Okay?
Yes.
They are not leaders of the Democratic and Republican Party. Right? They have one master, and that master is green, and it is money. And that is it. Okay? And when your master is money, then you're not going to be helping anybody. You're not looking to help anybody. Okay? It's funny. I have one more thing to say.
Okay.
Okay? Cuz this is a riot. Marjorie Taylor Greene. She got hers. She got hers $25 million. Amscrade to Costa Rica, and now is all of a sudden talking like a democratic socialist. Because she got hers. She was like, that's my exit strategy. Now I can talk about like how these people are fucking America and Americans.
Yeah. Yeah. But she was all in on taking the money.
Again, it's everybody's about themselves until they're comfortable. Okay. And then you either decide that you want more or you decide that you can do something about it. Okay. Listen, we saw this with Kristen Sinema. She got hers. But then she wanted more, and she just kept going. She kept going and going and going and going, and now, like, she's, like, completely unrecognizable from when she entered Congress. I mean, she had an affair, her boyfriend, security guard, is sitting there talking, shouting at meetings like, "Hey, what about me? You forgot about me." You wanna talk about complete drama meltdown. Google Christensen. Okay, you'll be entertained. If that's the type of thing that entertains you, you will be entertained. I'm going to tell you, this is sad and pathetic
Yeah.
that our politicians are acting this way. It is sad and pathetic that we have people who are defending rape and murder of little children. Okay, and I keep coming back to that because you can't tell me that you are for the police, that you are for the law, that you are for, criminals getting punishment that they deserve, for like incarceration. Like you can't tell me you are for any of those things while defending, right? Any of the people who are sitting there protecting rapists and murderers of little children. You just can't anymore. Okay?
Yeah.
We are now beyond, like, the stage we are now beyond the stage of, like, the benefit of the doubt. Like, oh,
Yeah. Hell
like,
yeah.
right? Like, we know how badly Democrats were involved in this. We know how badly Republicans were involved in this. We know how badly both parties are sitting there trying to protect and bury this at the federal level. None of these people should be voted for again. But they're going to get reelected. People are still going to vote for them. People are going to still think that they're good people, but
Well, they said they
every
didn't do it because every
every
criminal just admits their guilt.
whatever you believe, okay? Every press conference that Massey and Ro Khanna does regarding those files, every member of Congress should be standing with them. The fact that they stand alone and their pleas to the American people boggle my mind. Boggle my mind, because I could tell you, if I was there, I would be at every press conference with both of them. Like, I just would, because you have to be. I don't see how what's the other position here? What's the other side of this argument? Like, I'm trying to understand, like, the other side of this argument, and there really is no other side of this argument other than the fact that it's money. Like, it all comes down to money, and we have to come to the conclusion as Americans, we either are going to take our country back, and that means, benefits for all of us, and that means getting rid of the white supremacists, okay, and saying, okay, I understand you have feelings, and this isn't what you want, but they're Americans, and they get the same benefits. End of story.
Right. Right.
And we treat everybody here equally. And if you don't like it, go somewhere else. Like, I mean, like, this isn't the end of the world here. Like, but this
Right.
is
Well,
this is
you know what? I'm
this is
getting
where the
tired of
country
the,
is.
being told that if I don't like things, I should get out. No, if I don't like things, I have the freedom to vote and advocate for change and make my country better. So that's, so no, I ain't going anywhere. I do want to shift gears a little bit, but in the same vein of money.
Shift
Look,
gears, really?
yeah. Vroom.
we we
So
we we've been talking about everything.
yeah, I know, and, for folks that are watching, yeah, we get really emotional, but I
My
wanna
fault.
talk about yeah, yeah, but it's okay because this stuff has to come out, and we do need to talk about these things, and I wanna talk about a book that's gonna be coming out in, August. The author is his name is Gil Duran, and he wrote a book called Nerd Reich. Have you heard about this? Okay, this is something that ties into everything that's going on here. So what he did is he's researched these billionaires that buy our fucking politicians, all these tech billionaires and the rise of their wealth and what their plan really is. And it seems to be in process right now. And it's fucking dark. Um he pointed to the fact that these people like Elon Musk and Peter Thiel and all these people that have become uh beyond fabulously wealthy, disgustingly wealthy, and how they have this weird sociopathic goal. He says it seems like when these people become so obscenely wealthy that it exposes a sociopathy within them. They become sort of like I'm better than everybody else kind of thing. And so they subscribe to this sort of dark, it's called the dark enlightenment theory that was created by this weirdo named Curtis Yarvin, who like lives in his mother's basement. Like he had this dream that uh well they're planning what they want to do is evolve to a point where they're going to become one with AI so that they can live forever and they can go out into space and seed the universe with whatever is going on. And basically they don't see Earth as really a future for humanity. And they're in the process yeah, seriously, and they're in the process of enacting this process of getting ready to merge with the AI, I'm serious, this is like some crazy shit, but it's not the first time. This book is not the first time I've heard this, from this
This
dark
is like
enlightenment.
every sci-fi movie that's
Yes,
been
yes,
around.
it's like
This has
totally.
been every this is
It is
every
some
sci-fi
crazy
movie.
ass shit,
Yes.
but this is. I signed up for the book. Unfortunately, the book doesn't come out until August, but he did do a couple of interviews, one of them with, Kyle and Crystal on Secular Talk, and, I saw another one, and he talks about this craziness, and that, this reason why they don't give a shit about the environment. It's the reason why they don't give a shit about using the water and the
Yes, but
resources. They
this
need
is
it for their plans.
yes, but we've been talking about this for a year.
Yeah,
We've been having these conversations, so this
but
is
not
nothing new to
so.
us.
But the whole sci-fi twist end of it is like, holy shit. Like they
Like, listen, there were Don't Look Up movies, like, Don't Look Up. I mean,
yes,
I mean, we've seen how this plays out. We know how this plays out. And listen, the fact that they're psychopaths or sociopaths, just a few shows ago, like I talked about that. I said, what do Ted Bundy, you know, who was it? Jeffrey Dahmer, right? Like what Ted Kaczynski, like what do all these people have in common? Right? Donald Trump, like all of them have the same
sort of
psychopathy in
yeah.
common.
They're both
They're all
sociopaths,
they're all sociopaths,
narcissists.
and they're all narcissists, and they're all murderers, right? So and they're and not like they're all serial killers, right? Like not just
Yeah,
murderers, they're all serial killers. Like they get off on killing people. Like
they get off
it's
on the power of being able
right
to either
to
give or
take a
take
life.
life.
Right.
There's a certain power, and I think he was pointing to the fact that we look at USAID. So Elon Musk tore down USAID last year, and since then, and this was in Africa. Since then, roughly a quarter of a million people or more have died from starvation and disease that we used to help prevent. You know, and they're saying now that by 2030, that number could reach as much as 14 million people. So there was outrage about this when these numbers came out, and Elon was like, "Well, we just wanted to try to speak to the children, and nobody would let us talk to a kid on the phone so we could verify that this shit was going on, that they were starving in their country." And it's like, are you kidding me? A year ago, you proudly talked about throwing USAID into the wood chipper and waved around a chainsaw. So who are you fucking kidding?
He doesn't care. None
Absolutely
of
not.
them
Yeah, you're
act.
right.
Listen, the one thing that has been made clear is they actually don't care about Americans. This is not about America first. This is about some grand plan that they have to remake nation states, okay, and turn nation states from democracies to authoritarian regimes. And we're not talking about just America. We're talking about Great Britain. We're talking about all of Europe. Like we're seeing these battles rage, okay, throughout Europe. They're all having these issues. And what's so interesting about these issues? What's so interesting is how immigrants are becoming the focal point in all these countries, and it's the same immigrants that were invited in by those countries. So in every country has sort of the same issue, because as we're aging, we're all living longer, and this really needs to be talked about. We're all living longer, but as we procreate and have children, okay, those children move out, and they move to areas that tend to be much more populated and have more jobs, which tend to be cities. So what ends up happening, and it's happening here where we live in the Hudson Valley, that's why it's prevalent, is you have younger people moving out of suburban areas, right, into more city areas, more urban areas. Okay. And that leaves an older, stale, and workforce in that area. Okay. So what they're doing is a lot of countries, including the United States, right? Because we saw this in Maine, we saw this in Michigan, we saw this in Minneapolis, right? Like we saw this in a lot of different states. They invite immigrants from other countries,
Springfield.
right? They invite immigrants in from other countries to help in areas where you have a declining population and an aging population in order to revitalize industry so that the towns don't die. The municipalities don't die. Europe is having this issue. The United States had this issue. Germany, remember just a few years ago, they were begging immigrants to come into their country. We were begging immigrants to come into our country. Now, all of a sudden, because billionaires have decided that they want control, they are now pitting that the white populations in those areas against the immigrant communities that are coming in. That's all that's happening. That's what's happening. It's control. And and we just need to understand that, and we need to say no. This isn't how we want to live. We generate capital for them. We, the working class, are what holds our communities together. The billionaires aren't here. They don't hold us together. We hold each other together. Okay. And the only way we can fight this is together against them. That's it.
That's it.
That's the answer.
That's it. So, so folks, I hope you enjoyed this. If you're getting anything out of this content, please drop a like, share us with your friends, leave us a comment of 7 words or more to feed the algorithm that absolutely hates political content. And subscribe. All right. And we'll have more content. We're talking about possibly doing a live stream. I love doing live streams because you get so much more engagement with people. Um,
We've
but
gotten better. We've gotten better.
yeah, yeah, it's fun. I think it's fun. I
It
think
is fun, but we've gotten a lot better. So, join us for our live stream,
yes, yes. All
you
right.
know.
So we will see you soon. Take care. Be safe. Take care of each other. We
Peace
love
out.
you.